So I was going to go protect House Bill 218. It was passed in the House, and now the Senate has to pass it. Both of these houses in Frankfurt have passed a number of bills, but they haven't been able to agree on any of the bills. And so actually there's only one bill that's been passed by both the House and Senate, and that was to adjourn last month. So they've already passed the halfway mark. They haven't passed a single bill yet. I'm guessing less than 10. I'm hearing some people saying 2. So we'll see if they can pass, another seatbelt law, or they'll pass some heroin bill, but it'll be for greater draconian legislation, not a public health issue. They won't, the war on drugs has failed. Any alternative would be better. So new Kentucky House bill protects pregnant women on the job. Of course, we should be protecting our pregnant women. This was written by Representative Jenny Jenkins. It would require employers to make reasonable accommodations for pregnant workers. Passed the House Labor and Industry Committee today by unanimous vote. The bill is entitled the Kentucky Pregnant Workers Fairness Act. And so, it should have been passed. I don't know why they haven't passed it yet, because it should be passed. So that's just... It's a fascinating article here. Kentucky doesn't have any more working union coal miners. No more. So that's fucked up, to be honest with you. Oh, there's no more unions. There's no fucking unions in the coal mines. I mean, the Bloody Harlan 1 and 2 is all about the unions. That's how the big union movement happened throughout the 19th century. The Pullman strike and the Great Railroad strike, the Great Coal strike, my God, I mean, no unions, none of the fucking coal companies have any fucking unions. And they say they pay them better. They have no leverage. They have to kiss their boss's ass the entire time. And it makes for incredible sycophants, incredible obedient, loyal slaves. Uncle Tom slaves who just love their master more than the master loves himself. So that's pathetic. And it sucks that the workers are that selfish. And not intelligent enough to have any solidarity or friendship or unity with each other. It's all about kissing the boss's ass. Who can kiss the boss's ass the most? I'm the boss's bitch. No, I'm the boss's bitch. No, I'm the boss's bitch. So it's incredible. Appalachia was a really tough nut for the union to crack, and I think maybe Kentucky was the toughest nut of all. So unions are fucking nowhere, man. I thought at least coal miners have unions. I mean, just the teachers' unions, just police, fire department, pilots. There's a Wolf and Wolf's Clothing headed your way. Local NPR station this morning about a company wanting to begin hydraulic fracking in Kentucky. And it's the name of the company is called Horizontal Technology Energy Company, seeking permits to frack. So fracking's coming to Kentucky. I mean, shit, even the fucking Democrats are in favor of fracking. Allison Grimes was in favor of fracking. She didn't say anything about it. It was all about King Coal, about the coal company operators. I think we should just nationalize it. It's our coal. Get it back. Here's my lawyer for the LMPD brutality case. Unfortunately, when I got him to sign up, he had been kicked out of Kentucky. Then eventually got kicked out of Ohio. Now he's trying to get his law license again. He's presenting an argument at Kenton County Circuit Court. I'm interested in actually how the lawsuit came about. So I guess he's filing a federal lawsuit against the Kentucky Bar Association, alleging it didn't have the legal authority to suspend him. It seems like a losing battle. I mean, the Kentucky Bar Association, they would have the legal authority unless there's some specific bylaws that they didn't follow themselves. So he filed a federal complaint against the Kentucky Bar Association, alleging it didn't have the legal authority to suspend him. So the article is really written, in Eric Dieter says he wants to be a lawyer again. Like that was not a nicely written titled article. Basically, it's making fun of him. So he wants to be a lawyer. Well, of course he does. I mean, I don't even know if the transgressions were even that big enough of a reason to suspend somebody. I would like to get into Kentucky Bar. Who controls the Kentucky Bar Association? How many people is on this? Who decides this? Who decides who gets to be lawyers in Kentucky and who doesn't? Supreme Court overturns conviction of man who shot owner of downtown Chinese restaurant. So that's wild. The conviction of a man has been overturned. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison for the robbery and shooting at the China Walk located in the Hazelwood Strip Mall downtown. Kentucky Supreme Court last week ruled that Jefferson Circuit Court Judge Charles Cunningham erred by improperly allowing Sykes' confession to be redacted, excluding for the jury part where Sykes said he didn't mean to shoot the restaurant owner. So they're saying that because they didn't allow part of the testimony into the trial, that he had improperly ruled on him, and so that's been overturned. So now his fate is up, for a retrial. So we'll see what happens with this. That's the Supreme Court of Kentucky. The High Court sent the case back to Judge Cunningham, so he's going to have to try the same fucking case again. That's what he's going to have to do. So that's good news for Stephen Sykes. Good news for Stephen Sykes. Here's something that's interesting with the Kentucky Supreme Court. Again, Supreme Court just overruled that ruling about the murder case. So they still have, Will T. Scott used to be part of the Supreme Court. There used to be 9. I think there's 8 now. So Kentucky only has 8 Supreme Court justices left, and they all make $140,000 a year. So they said that this is Mike O'Connell. He's basically a hypocrite. He's a backwards, he's got the white hair and the glasses and the little, rainbow tie. Makes himself look like a good guy. He's a shitty guy. He's a shitty person. He's pro-war on drugs. He's been criminalizing people over and over again. His own son actually died of a heroin overdose. He doesn't even give a shit about his own family. He's a bad person. All you have to do is show people love and compassion, but he couldn't even show love and compassion for his own children. So he's the prosecutor. I think he's the county attorney for Louisville, and he was saying, I guess something, they filed some shit saying that the people are going judge shopping, but that's what prosecutors and cops and lots of people go judge shopping. You want to try to get a lawsuit or try to get somebody charged with something, then you don't have the judge in your area saying it's okay. Well, you got to find a judge that says that it's okay. And so the issue was about bail, post and bond. And so if they go to one judge and the judge says, you got to post $1,000 bond, somehow another judge could come in and say you don't need a bond at all. You're released on your own recognizance. All you have to do is just find a judge who is willing to release a person on their own recognizance. And so if they can be released on, then they can go about their own way. But that's, they're saying that it's shopping for judges is the problem, because the defense is shopping, and supposedly somebody had got $1,000 bond and then somebody else undercut him and released him. And that pissed him off. Mike O'Connell was very pissed off about that. It's unethical or whatever, but it wasn't illegal. The defendants are allowed to talk. The public advocates are allowed to talk to the judges talking about their clients' bond rate. Of course that's allowed. Of course that's acceptable. So he's just basically just being a little prima donna. The Supreme Court sided with him, and he was like, well, clearly, it's wrong because the Supreme Court said it's really, really wrong. And that's some strong language. That's pretty much, all that's said there. But that's an interesting decision, right? So that means Supreme Court says it, so everybody else in Kentucky has to follow it. Did Hitler ever say we close union offices, confiscate their money, and doesn't matter? I think the quote is, it might not be the right quote, but it does essentially, in May the 2nd, I think 1933, May 2nd, 1933, police units occupied all trade union headquarters, and union officials and leaders were arrested. The funds that belonged to the trade unions, effectively this was workers' money, were confiscated. However, Hitler had to be careful. He'd only been in power for a few months, and there were many members of the working class he had to deal with. If the working class movement in Germany organized itself, it would have presented the new chancellor with a lot of major issues that would have to be dealt with. Removing trade union leaders helped us, but it did not fully guarantee that the working class would behave itself. Hitler had to offer the workers something more. Hitler announced that the German labor force, headed by Robert Lee, would replace all trade unions and would look after the working class. The title was chosen carefully, the German labor force. The new organization was deliberately cloaked in patriotism, as it was now a German entity, as it was seen in its title. The working class was now a labor force. The German labor force, the Nazi Party, did all it could to ensure the workers felt they were better off under the guidance of the Nazi Party via the German Labor Front. So, he smashed the trade unions and then instituted his own big union because he recognized, you can't keep working people down, so why not just control the working people's union yourself? Some people say, well, he started the union. Well, yeah, he started the big umbrella union, the German labor force union, but he smashed all the independent unions, and that's really what you need is a robust independent labor movement, labor working, all professions. You don't need just working class unions, professional unions. You should have secretary and there should be all types of, the minimum wage union, fast food worker union, and even the big union. I think there should be. But anyways, it was done intentionally. He smashed Germany's unions, whose leaders were the staunchest opponents of Nazism. So obviously, they were among the strongest supporters of Germany's democratic post-World War I Weimar Republic. Hitler replaced the unions with the bogus German Labor Front, a Nazi puppet organization. The front's job was to squeeze more and more production out of German workers and enforce their obedience to him. Right-wing German industrialists and business leaders eagerly embraced the Labor Front. Many of them were enthusiastic Nazis who helped bankroll Hitler. The Labor Front turned German workers into industrial serfs, according to The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich by William L. Schreier. During World War II, Hitler happily provided owners of German industries and businesses with thousands of slave laborers from Nazi-conquered countries. Under the Labor Front, the German workers bound as master, the employer, much as medieval peasants had been bound to the lord of the manor. Schreier writes, Hitler decreed a law bringing an end to collective bargaining and provided that henceforth labor trustees appointed by him would regulate labor contracts and maintain labor peace. Since the decisions of the trustees were to be legally binding, the law in effect outlawed strikes. So Hitler was not a fan of the unions. He was not a fan of strikes. So May the 2nd, 2014, they were not, that's when this article was written, but 1933, so this would be, in 2 days from now, it'll be May the 2nd. This is when he smashed up all the unions. He smashed the unions all to hell. And so, May the 2nd, 1933. It was one of the largest and strongest in the world. 7 million members at the time. The Nazis, much like some far-rightists in our own country, they now saw that unions exercise significant power by representing workers' interests and promoting a democratic humanitarian outlook among workers. The unions presented a barrier to the Nazi effort to control all areas of life and create a corporate fascist state. Therefore, the Nazis made a priority of eliminating trade unions in Germany. In their place, Hitler set up a German labor front, which included both employers and workers under the guise of providing benefits and service to workers that supported the racist and pro-corporate Nazi agenda and spread Nazi propaganda among workers. Jews were banned from membership, collective bargaining, and the right to strike were outlawed. Pay and working conditions were decried by Hitler officials. As a result, wages were frozen, and the average work week increased by 20% in just a few years. Hitler's destruction of unions was supported by important German business leaders and conservative politicians who shared the Nazi fear of a socialist revolution during the turbulent 1920s and early 30s. Many of these people wanted restrictions on or a complete abolition of unions, which they felt had become too powerful. This is one reason why many conservatives helped the Nazis come into power and joined or support Hitler's government. Between 1933 and 1945, thousands of German trade unionists were arrested and imprisoned. Many were tortured, executed, or sent to concentration camps. Thus, the defeat of Hitler and liberation of Germany from Nazism represented a momentous victory for the working class of Germany and the rest of the world. But the struggle for labor rights continues, as we see daily in our own country. So the UN, the treaties, the war on drugs, it's not working all across the world. It's a losing battle. It's a losing battle everywhere. It's stupid. Fuck off. Fuck you. Fuck the war on drugs. And fuck the NSA. And fuck the Patriot Act. Occupy. May 19, 2015. Go vote.